Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Doctor Who video where today I want to discuss what I think is going to be quite a controversial video because I want to tell you guys why basically I don't want Murray Gold to return for RTD2. So yes, just quickly before we get into this Doctor Who hot take I guess, quickly guys, please hit that subscribe button if you're new here and follow me on Twitter at EMS Productions for all the latest updates on my videos and Doctor Who and all of that stuff. But yeah, let's get straight into this brand new video. So yeah, firstly I should probably clarify, if you are new to my channel and you think, oh, I'm just a Murray Gold hater, I'm really not, because I've been making videos of Murray Gold's music since about 2014 or something, like complete soundtracks to a ridiculous amount of episodes. I listen to all of the Doctor Who music over and over and over. I am a huge fan of Murray Gold. I think he's a great composer. I've really enjoyed his approach to Doctor Who over 12 years. But I don't think I want any more of him. Like, as I say, I absolutely have adored all of his music. So many brilliant themes, all the way back to the theme for Rose in the Ninth Doctor in Series 1, through the Gallifrey theme, Amy's theme, I Am the Doctor, Good Man. All of this stuff throughout the 10 series that he did were so brilliant. So many different character themes that were so brilliantly, such original motifs that were originally created and then being, explored and creating variations of it through different series. And it's such an effective way of scoring a television show. And Murray did do an absolutely fantastic job of that. But I just kind of feel like we've had so much of it. He scored for 12 years, or well, he started working in 2004 until 2017, so basically 13 years to do 10 series plus shed loads of specials as well. And I have really enjoyed the change that Sega Nakanoda has brought us. I fundamentally, I know a lot of people have been a little bit less, enjoying his music. They kind of thought it's just a bit background atmospheric, doesn't really have any interest to it. But I think that's such a simple, too much of a simple explanation. Like, sure, his Sega Nakanoda's music isn't, big and bombastic like Murray Gold's was. Sega isn't really going to score an I Am the Doctor type piece of music. But that's okay. That doesn't mean that Segan's approach is wrong or that it doesn't fit the show properly. And we've certainly seen over the course of the 3 series that Segan has done that his music has really kind of grown in scale and stature, and he's really established these themes for the 13th Doctor, for the Master, for Yaz, new themes for the Cybermen and the Daleks and the Centaurans. There's so many great, clear themes that he has established for these different characters, these different alien races. Whether they're quite as in your face as, say, what Murray Gold did, maybe they're not. But I don't think that's always necessary to be able to, create a great piece of a great score and soundtrack to a TV show. I don't think that's an absolute necessity. In some ways, we probably almost got too used to the approach that Murray Gold took over those 10 series, which was brilliant and I loved it. But I have just really enjoyed this sort of slight change of pace and change of atmosphere, a slightly more reliance on synthesizers as well in the sort of tone of the music. There's much more sort of pulsating beats that are just kind of always there in the background, which I think can really add something to a scene where in the past Murray Gold would, skip between a silly comedy piece of music to a really dramatic piece of music to a sad piece of music. And again, there's nothing wrong with either approach. I've just enjoyed the change up. And so I just feel like when we're looking to RTD2, we're looking to a real refresh of the show. I don't want to use the word reboot because I don't believe that's what it's going to be. But, as close as we've got to a reboot since 2005, I guess, is what I'd kind of imagine and what I'd hope that RTD2 is going to be. Not because I personally hated the Chris Chibnall era, just because I really feel like the show could do with the most fresh of starts as possible for this new era. And so I know there's already obviously been the rumours about, various other production team from Series 1 coming back, like Phil Collins and Ed Thomas possibly as well, the production designer. And so, it does feel a little bit like Murray's bringing all the old guys back together to do a new series. And so that does lead, in terms of the rumours, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if Murray did come back. But I just don't feel like that's what I really want from the show. Like, he's just going to come back. And I'm not saying that Murray's going to do exactly what he did for 12 years previously, but it's still going to be fundamentally that same style of music, which, as I say, is great, but is not maybe what I want the show to do going forwards when there's so much other creative talent out there in terms of composers. You go onto Netflix, you go onto iPlayer or whatever, and you watch a few different, dramas or whatever, and you see the breadth of different composers with different styles of music that comes through in such an interesting way across, so many different genres. And I think many composers that could work for Doctor Who. You look at, people like David Arnold, Michael Price, who did Sherlock, Michael Price on his own, who did Unforgotten, the ITV drama. You've got Oliver Oliver Arnolds, who did Broadchurch back in the day, Christabel Tapia de Veer, who did Humans and Utopia, among other shows. You know, there's such a breadth of talent. You've got Rupert Gregson-Williams, I mean, a slightly bigger name, who did The Crown, and Martin Phipps, who did Victoria. You know, there's so many different composers with different styles of music that I think could really suit Doctor Who. You've got Ruth Barrett, who did Bodyguard, that drama from 2018, Line of Duty composer Carly Parody. There's so many different composers who could bring something just a little bit different. I'm not saying that, you know, we should completely change the style of music to Doctor Who. I mean, I think Sagan kind of did that. And I think it shows that, you know, different approaches to the soundtrack and the score and the feel of the show from that point of view can totally work. I just would like to see something new, something fresh. I loved Murray, but I've got 10 soundtracks. Okay, I should have a Series 10 soundtrack. I've got 9 soundtracks, I guess, plus specials of his music to enjoy. I've got, 100 and something episodes with his scores to enjoy. I'd love to hear something fresh and new. That's what I really want. And, Sagan's been able to, over these last 3 series, establish new themes for monsters, which I think shows that it's not a sort of requirement for, the same, theme for the Daleks or the Cybermen. Dun, 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 dun. That doesn't need to be in the show all the way through. Like that, it's okay that changed with Sagan. Initially, I was a little bit unsure about that. I was like, is this really going to work? But actually, the Chris Chibnall era feels very different to the previous series of Doctor Who, I think. And having these monsters have their sort of own defined themes that are separate for this era to the previous one, I think is a really good thing. And so I really wouldn't mind at all if somebody new came in and did that again with RTD2, rather than Murray coming back and giving us the Cyberman theme all over again, just revamped, and the Daleks with all those male sort of choral vocals in there and do all that all over again. Like, again, I just want to make clear there's nothing wrong with it, and I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I hate this if it does happen and Murray's coming back. I will still enjoy that music. I just would fundamentally prefer to have somebody new and fresh to the show. One slightly outlandish idea I had, which they'd never go with, but I think it could be interesting, would be to have multiple different composers composing different episodes of a series. It's something that the classic series obviously did all the time. Like, sure, Dudley Simpson was kind of the predominant composer of the 1970s, but you still had many other composers involved in there, like Geoffrey Burgon and the likes, and then stretching into the 80s, you had a huge range of different ones. Paddy Kingsland, Mark Ayres did a few of them. There was many different composers who got involved in certainly in the 80s, and so I just don't. I know television has changed now, and probably you need that uniform feel to all the episodes, unless it's an anthology series like Black Mirror was. That does have different composers for every episode, but that works because they are individual, stories that have no connection to each other, and so through the music you can kind of create that individual world and that feel for the episode in each individual one, rather than it needing to continue through different stories. So that's where I kind of feel like it probably wouldn't really happen or necessarily work brilliantly, but I just think it'd be really interesting. We've had 160 episodes of Doctor Who since it came back in 2005, and we've only had 2 different people do music for it. Like, I just think there's so much other creative talent out there that could get involved and could do fantastically interesting scores for episodes of Doctor Who, particularly when the show itself has so much breadth. Get in a composer who's done period dramas when they go and do one that's set back in time. A Victorian era one, go and get the composer from Victoria or The Crown or something like that. Like, why not take that approach and then, get somebody who's done some very sci-fi things if they're doing a futuristic space one or on a space station or something. Like, I think that could be really, really interesting. I think, as I say, there's the problem with the idea of, you won't have continuing themes through the series, that if you have a theme for the Doctor, how does that continue if you've got different composers? I realise there are practical issues like that there. But I just think in terms of a feel of episodes, I think it could be really, really interesting to do that approach and just really get more talent involved from a musical point of view on the show. But yeah, so that's kind of why I really would like to see a change from Murray Gold. He did great. He did 12 or 13 amazing years of Doctor Who music, but I'd really just like to see somebody new. I think it's unrealistic that Sagan's going to stay on. I guess it's possible, but I don't really see that as massively likely. I think that, Sagan is the guy that Chris chose to come in and do the scoring, and I think Russell will want to have his own team, his own approach once it comes to it, whether that's bringing back Murray or whether that's somebody fresh. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think that Sagan's going to be staying on, and I imagine the Centenary Special is going to be his final episode. But yes, guys, there's just a few thoughts on where I'd like to see the future of the soundtracks, the score, the music of Doctor Who to go. If you've got any thoughts, please do let me know down in the comments below. Would you like to just see Murray return? I'm sure a lot of you would, and maybe this is quite a controversial opinion. Or is there any other composers you'd love to see take on the role of scoring Doctor Who that you really enjoy their soundtracks of, or just have a real interest in? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. But that is just about it for this video, guys. Please remember to hit that like like button, that's the subscribe button if you're new here, and I will see you again very soon for a brand new video. But until then, it's a very warm goodbye.